Hello and welcome to the Noahide court in Jerusalem, a division of the Sanhedrin. I'm your host, Betzalel Edwards, and I bring to you the words of the Midrash, Jewish wisdom teachings, wherein it is written, "The Holy One, blessed be He, gave the Torah to Israel in order that the nations of the world should merit from it." Another Midrash teaches us that when it says in the Torah, "and they camped in the desert," that the Torah was given in a place of a public ceremony. It was a place that was abandoned, but in the form of a public celebration, a ceremony. In other words, you're walking through the desert, it's Nowheresville. All of a sudden, there's a wondrous ceremony and celebration. Why was it done in this way? That's the question of the wisdom teaching. Because it could have been given in a settled place, in the land of Israel, which is already settled by the Canaanites. Or it could wait till the Jews conquered it. And God gave the land of Israel to the Jews to conquer from the Canaanites. So once we get in, we could build Jerusalem, and then we could receive the Torah. Well, there's various answers come to mind. One is we needed to know the laws before we go into the land. And another is that we're focusing on the Midrash, which says that the Torah was given in an abandoned place, in pomp and circumstance, taking place in an abandoned area. This was because if it was given in the land of Israel, the Midrash says, the nations of the world would say that they don't have any portion in it. It's in the land that the children of Israel conquered. It's in their land. It's not in our land. So God very carefully gave the Torah to the Jewish people outside of the land of Israel. So the nations would say, this is also ours. Therefore, God gave, it was an abandoned place. Meaning, what's an abandoned place? You abandon something, it has no owner. It's a place that wasn't in one person's land, another person's land. It was given in no man's land. So, and if you have something, you find a watch in no man's land, and there's no way to find the owner. It's been lost. There's no distinguishing mark, that there's no hope of finding the owner, in other words. Then the law says that you can take it. But if it was found in a place that's in somebody's yard, if there's a watch in somebody's yard, you can't take it because it's theirs. So now I believe that the Midrash is clear. So we need to study this whole teaching in greater depth. There are many statements in the Jewish tradition saying that there's a big problem to teach the Torah to non-Jews. In the Talmud and Sanhedrin, it says that an idolater, remember in the days of the Sanhedrin, that most of the world was still worshipping many gods. There was a lot of paganism going on 2,000 years ago, and much less going on today. So the Sanhedrin 2,000 years ago said that an idolater who studies the Torah is culpable of the death penalty. What do they base this on? They base it on the verse in the Torah which says, "Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha kilat Yaakov." Moses commanded us the Torah as an inheritance. It's our inheritance, and it's not their inheritance. That's the way the sages of the Talmud understood it. Furthermore, in the book of Psalms it says, "Chukav u'mishpatav liYisrael, lo asa ken l'kol goy." So we see very clearly that in Psalm 147 it says that the Torah's laws and statutes were for Israel, And he did not do this for all of the nations. The Holy Zohar, one of the wisdom teachings, it says very strong fire and brimstone kind of words about teaching Torah to somebody who is not a Jewish person. For instance, in one of the places in the Zohar, it says, I'm going to spot translate here, anyone who is not circumcised, and you even bring him one little letter of the Torah, even you teach him the letter Aleph, it is as if you destroyed the whole world, and it is as if you are lying in God's name, using God's name as a lie. Because it all depends on this. The Zohar is very extreme. Even one letter of the Torah, the whole world depends on it. Every letter depends on every other letter, as is said in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 33. If it were not for my covenant day and night, I would not have made the laws I wouldn't have placed the laws of the heavens and the earth. In other words, that the laws of physics are in place because of the letters of the Torah, because of the words of Torah. The Torah keeps the world going around, keeps the constellations revolving, keeps the universe in existence. Come and see, the Zohar says. This is the Torah, we say, and this is the Torah which Moshe placed before the children of Israel. He placed it before the children of Israel, but he did not place it before the other nations. That's why it also says in the Torah, and speak to the children of Israel, etc., etc. The Zohar has very strong words forbidding the teaching of Torah to non-Jews. Now this, as I'm opening up a parenthesis, first of all, I have to give credit where credit is due. This is a book by Rabbi Yoel Shwartz, the head of the Noahide court, who is very strongly interested in teaching Torah to the nations of the world. So he's giving these as examples, and he's going to show many more examples and prove with ironclad proofs why these are not the examples that we follow. And I'm also opening up another parenthesis when they are in the polemic between the Christians and the Jews. The Christians always say, we are the true Israelites. They are no longer the true Israelites. That's ridiculous, because the Jews have been a cohesive people from Jewish parents to Jewish parents, at least from Jewish mother to Jewish mother, back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, back to Jacob and his 12 sons, back to King David. And everybody knows that, and thank God we've had many righteous converts come in and accept the Torah. So we are still the same people, and so it still applies to the Jews today. So let me quickly move ahead. There's even a place in the Midrash which says that the 10 Commandments were given to Israel and not to the other nations. So there are many very vociferous statements about the Torah is for Jews. But now we're going to get to a place where we see that it's not so. Take for example, the whole story of Rabbi Shwartz focuses on Gal-Ed, not Gal-Ed, on when Joshua came into the land. It's already commanded in the book by Moses to Joshua. He said, when you go into the land, put up 2 stones and write the Torah on these 2 stones. It's on Har Gerizim, Mount Gerizim, and Mount Eval, and on Mount Gerizim. So the Talmud says that how is the Torah written on these stones on Mount Gerizim? What does it mean, written? Meaning that our rabbis say that writing the Torah means teaching the mitzvot, carving the mitzvot into these rocks. That's writing the Torah. So Rabbi Yehuda says they were carved, these they were carved the mitzvot into the rocks as much as they could. Maybe the 11 curses mentioned in Deuteronomy. And Moses said, and tell all of the people to that anybody who goes into his neighbor's property without permission shall be cursed, and everybody says Amen. Anybody who sleeps with his sister shall be cursed, and everybody says Amen. Anybody who sleeps with an animal shall be cursed, and everybody says Amen, and so forth. This you may remember this from your study of the Bible. So that some say that was the Torah that was written on these stones, but it's not clear what it is. So for all intents and purposes, it's the Torah. The mitzvot were written on these stones. So Rabbi Yehuda says they were carved into the stones as it is written, and you shall write them on the stones. You shall write all of the words of the Torah, of this Torah, on these stones. And then afterwards it says to plaster them over with plaster or with limestone. And then so Rabbi Shimon said, according to you, how did the nations of the world how did they learn Torah? It was covered up with plaster. Rabbi Yehuda answers back to Rabbi Shimon, God gave them an extra understanding. The Holy One, blessed be, gave them an extra understanding that they've sent special people to take them back to their leaders, and they had artisans uncover the limestone. And then once the minute the Canaanites or the tribes, the 7 peoples that were in the land, learned those words, they were culpable to go down to the well of destruction, Ber Shachat. In other words, once they learned that anybody who has relations with an animal is cursed, they are culpable not to do that anymore. It was something that was perhaps popular at that time, because they were supposed to learn and they didn't learn. Rabbi Shimon said, no, it was revealed. It wasn't underneath and plastered over with limestone. It was carved, the limestone smoothed over the rocks, and the Torah, the mitzvot, were written on the limestone. Because it says, in order that they should do, and the bottom line of it in big letters on these rocks said, and the nations would come and read these stones, and they saw it, in order that you should do these things. You are required to do these things. So here we have an ironclad proof from the Talmud, based on a very clear passage in the Torah, that the Jews are in fact obligated to teach Torah to our cousins in the nations of the world. This is your host, Betzalel Edwards, reading from Rabbi Yoel Shwartz's book, A Light Unto the Nations, coming to you from the Noahide court, from the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem. Shalom uvracha.